Okay, let's try this again. It looks like I have sound, which is awesome. All right, let's share this online. Oh, Paul retweeted it. Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Okay. Now, so I've been trying to do daily live streams since like July 6th, but because July 6th is my YouTube anniversary. But I've had some difficulty with that because since July 6th, my nephew and brother have been hanging out with us while my nephew's on vacation visiting Pittsburgh. He does not morning well, which includes getting changed into clean clothes at the beginning of each day. So we've opted not to do that. Just, as things go, I'd rather not people know that about him in a visual way with a face to attach it to him. Okay, we have tweeted out this. I'm going to share it in a couple Discords. I don't think anyone's here, so I'm just going to keep jabbering to myself until someone comes back. I wonder where the word jabbering comes from. Do you think it was from before or after the Jabberwocky poem? It's a great poem. Oh, I haven't tweeted out a poem today. On Twitter, I've been tweeting out short poems. Well, poems shorter than 280 characters every day. And you know what? It's been delightful. I love starting the day with poetry. It's just awesome. Okay. Sharing it on Twitter. Sharing it in Discord. I wish I could type really well and talk at the same time. Okay. So it is 10:16 on the East Coast, so it's like 7:16 on the West Coast, and probably no one will watch this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Because maybe the worst take that I have ever heard in my life was published by Forbes, like yesterday. And when I say the worst take I've ever heard in my life, I've heard a lot of bad takes. I mean, I'm living during the Trump administration. I've heard so many bad takes. All right. We're down. So, Forbes contributor Panos Mordoc. So, Forbes contributor Panos Mordikotos, who is also the chair of the Department of Economics at Long Island University, has published an article saying that libraries should be replaced by Amazon bookstores. And once again, the worst take I've seen ever. I mean, I want to say it's the worst take I've seen in a while since, like, somebody called an outright lie alternative facts. But this is a worst take. Trying to get away with lying and just having a terrible opinion is a different thing. And, I mean, yes, lots of terrible things are happening every day, but I love libraries. I use them all the time. So, he argued that libraries don't have as many public events because school auditoriums exist in this article, which is just a garbage opinion because school auditoriums aren't this new thing, and also libraries exist outside of schools and also host public events. I mean, once again, it's not a new invention. Auditoriums aren't a new invention. I mean, also there are free public events at libraries going on all the time. I mean, I've taken classes at my libraries I've taken acting, Tai Chi, yoga, sewing, because I like learning new skills that are helpful to me. And while I've been there, I've also seen other events going on. I don't have a baby, but I've seen babies doing story time, and there's an elderly nature walk that goes on at one of the libraries in my library system. And that's really cool. Really, really cool. Yeah. And it's helpful to the community. You meet more people in your community at these public events that you may not have heard of. They are free, they are accessible. All you have to do is show up on time. And you don't even need to show up on time. But you can just join these wonderful things that the library provides and meet other people who are interested in the same things as you and maybe learn a skill or do something interesting and socialize, which is really good, especially for the things that happen at the children's library. Kids need to be around other kids. They also need to learn how to be quiet sometimes. Libraries are great places to do that. Scratching Cat, so that's Uta, asks, is this in response to that stupid tweet from yesterday? Yes, it was a stupid tweet. It was also an article published by Forbes. So, to recap, a guy who's a Forbes contributor, Panos Mordikotos, I didn't look up how to say his name, was once again the department of the Long Island University's economics school has decided that public libraries should be replaced by Amazon bookstores. And it's a silly idea. It's a bad take. Kathy said Stacks and Facts also did a great video in response to this silly article. And I haven't seen it, but I'm definitely going to check it out. I saw that you shared it on Facebook earlier, Kathy. But this guy is it's a ridiculous idea. It's a ridiculous idea to say that libraries shouldn't exist and we should replace them with things that you have to pay to be at. I mean, he also argued that people go to Starbucks now to hang out and read their books and use their Wi-Fi, which I do. But he said that libraries aren't necessary anymore because Starbucks exists, which is not true. I mean, I, for one, like to exist in places without having to pay to be in that place, which you have to do at Starbucks. They say you don't have to do it, but you do, because capitalism is it's terrible. And I mean, yeah, as an Asian woman who looks young and non-threatening and often passes as white, I can go to Starbucks without buying anything and just sit there for a long period of time without any employees asking any questions or doing anything. But you know what? I don't want to take my black little brother to Starbucks and just sit around and not do anything, because for one thing, that'd be super boring. And also, when I take my little brother to a library and we just sit around and aren't sure what to do yet, or if we want to get anything, we never get arrested. And people in Starbucks have gotten arrested for that. If I'm meeting someone, I don't want to get arrested. At libraries, it doesn't happen. At Starbucks, it has. And it's just such a bad... I can't get over how bad of an idea it is. Scratching Cat says, I love the whole library Twitter response, which is true. The response on Twitter and the overwhelming outpouring of love for libraries has been just amazing from what I've seen online, because everyone else in the world, aside from Forbes magazine and that one guy, has vehemently rejected this idea that libraries shouldn't exist and that we should have to pay to do something. Because, of course, in an Amazon bookstore, they would want you to buy the books. And, I mean, I can't do that. I own a lot of books, but I've mostly gotten them at library sales. And there's this big sale in the summer every year in Pittsburgh, which is the half price books sale, because they sell their overstocked merchandise in this huge warehouse. And half price books marking down how expensive their books are is amazing. Batch Out says, the New York Public Library system is a shining example of a library as a community hub. And whenever abolishing libraries for tech companies arises, I explain that libraries are much more than books, which is so true. I mean, he did make the point that in the article that people don't read physical books anymore because ebooks exist, which, I mean, yeah, even if you set aside the fact that ebook sales are declining and the sales of physical books are growing and the shift is largely driven by younger generations and young consumers, libraries do have more than just physical books. I mean, and also lots of libraries also allow you to borrow ebooks on things like Overdrive and Hoopla or audiobooks. And I do that all the time. My library is partnered with an app called Hoopla, which lets you download 10 things every month. I'm going on a road trip in like 2 weeks. We're waiting until July 31st to download 10 stories and then doing it again on August 1st. And I mean, it's great because they're these great pillars of the community and it offers access to information to everyone without having to pay for it. Because everyone, regardless of class status, deserves the chance to learn. And it's just scratching the surface of what they do. Sorry, I'm just looking at note I made. I mean, you made a great point with the New York Public Library. Libraries are so much more than books. I mean, people come for information on services that can really save lives. And yes, it's part of that is just building a community. A lot of what they do is building a community. I mentioned the many public and free events a few minutes ago. But, I mean, getting information on where to find domestic violence shelters, getting help on where to find jobs. One of the libraries in the Pittsburgh library system hosts classes once a week on building a resume on doing job interviews, and regularly updates job postings in the area because they want people in the community to succeed and to be able to access things that they have to pay for. But they're doing the service for free because it's important for the community. And I mean, and it's much more than that too, because entertainment is important. And no, that's, a weird thing to say, but it is. Going to the library and getting DVDs is awesome because I can afford a streaming service. That's great. Streaming services are amazing. I have Netflix right now and I watch YouTube a lot. But there have been times when I wasn't sure if I would be able to pay for those things. And being able to access things that are entertaining that will keep my brother entertained when he's with us is great. And if you take away libraries, what you get is a community that is a low-income community, which I live in, would be devastated because we wouldn't have a place to maybe indulge in hobbies and go to things and check out things that we like because we can't afford to spend money on books or music or so many other things. And I want the library to be funded and be a place of hope and fun and amazing things because it is full of amazing things and everybody should have access to knowledge and entertainment and to have the right of their cities to... Sorry, you know what? I'm getting a little bit confused. I'm going to go back and read some comments. Kathy says she gets at least 95% of her reads from the library and has read over 100 books this year. Some of those are audiobooks, apps, and she'll read an ebook if she can't find other ways, which is true. Also, Kathy reads an amazing amount and has a great booktube channel, so if you don't know her, that'd be cool to check out. I tweeted out yesterday, I found out I read 27 of my 38 books this year were library books, which is 71%. 71% of the books I read are from the library. And a lot of the books that I don't read from the libraries are ARCs that were sent to me that were sent to my husband, who also has a great blog that reviews books. They were ARCs that were sent to my husband for free, and we didn't pay for them because we couldn't, but we do have the social status to be able, and the connections to be able to get some of those free and early. Scratching Cat, it is a good thing too that all the responses came in. For every once in a while, a capitalist floats the idea of trying to get rid of the last social space for poor people. Let's kill those floating balloons as they come out. And I agree. I think killing terrible ideas whenever somebody suggests them is a great idea. Because we live in a weird and scary society right now. We really, really do. And living in a terrifying society where I'm not sure if I'm going to have reproductive rights next year, terrifying. Living in a world where my mayor's first response to a 17-year-old getting shot 3 times in the back from a police officer was, oh, no, that didn't happen in my city. That happened in East Pittsburgh. You're confused. All of this is terrifying and horrifies me every day. But if we can get the terrible idea out that poor people shouldn't exist in public, that'd be great. And I think every terrible idea should be killed as soon as it happens. Because I don't want these ideas to grow or to manifest or for them to find a platform and a community that would outreach that idea. Because if you don't use libraries, that's fine. But if you're upset about paying less than $500 in taxes, in property taxes that go to libraries on your $1.5 million home to fund the library and to fund something that benefits the community, maybe your opinion just isn't good. It's a garbage opinion. It's a bad take. And libraries should continue to exist. Anyways, today I will be writing letters to my representatives and ask them to provide more funding for the libraries because a lot of my political operations are out of spite. And you know what? I really love libraries. And I hate that guy who had that idea. I love libraries and I love what they do. And I want them to be better funded so they can reach more people. And I'm really lucky to live in an urban area that has an amazing library system of over 40 libraries all throughout it that all share books and resources. And it's just, in general, amazing and well-funded due to private donors. But not everybody is as lucky as me to have access to a good library system because more often than not, libraries are underfunded and maybe can't afford the latest book and maybe doesn't have access to as many things that I have access to because of my very well-funded library. And I want everyone to have that. I want everybody to have a great library and would love if people pushed for more library funding. So, if you want to write your representatives too, that'd be cool. I'm also going to be visiting my local library because I have to return books. I finished I just finished this book the other day, X by Ilyasa Shabazz, it's a fictionalization of Malcolm X's life from the late 30s and 1940s while he was a gangster, basically. So that's really interesting. It was written by his daughter, and it really showed some of the struggles that he went through and why he was so motivated to make the changes in the world that he was pushing for and pushing for civil rights. I also need to return this lovely YA novel, The Mysterious Benedict Society. When I was a senior in high school, a friend told me about this book. It's delightful. I'm glad I finally got around to reading it. Yeah. I think I'm going to be done talking. Thank you to everyone who joined me. I'm going to go return these and thank a librarian because they are amazing.